Hey, Mayor, are you there?
Yes, Sean, how you doing?
Good, good.
Good.
Sorry, I was doing something there.
No, that's all right. I just sat down. I just got back in.
Okay, good.
Everything going pretty good?
Yeah, it's been pretty busy.
That's good. That's good.
Oh, hang on.
All right.
Let me see. Okay. Are you there still?
Yep. Mhm.
Okay, we're getting an echo from the streaming. So yeah, it's been very busy. I mean, the project at the land, I had a showing today in the land, showing on Jeffrey Boulevard.
Oh,
So I'm hoping I'm hoping next year will be good.
oh, it could be. It could turn things around.
Yeah.
Hello,
Hi. Good evening.
Mayor. How are you?
Good, and you?
I'm doing good.
Feeling good? Okay, good. Good.
You healthy? Everybody good?
So far, so good.
Good.
We're getting close. Hopefully,
Yeah.
put this behind us. We have a pretty thick agenda for the IDA side. The land side, not too much, as you guys saw.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So as soon as we get the group on, we'll get rolling.
Best of tie, Sean.
Hey, it's not, today was a special day because we had a meeting in the office. So it doesn't happen too much. So it's exciting. It's like, I don't know. It's just, you know how it is. It's just, it's nice for a dose of reality. But we are streaming, so I don't want to get into it too much. It's very preliminary. But
Yeah.
we had an out-of-town machining company that's looking to purchase land and build the building, and they're looking in Genesee County at that land project out there, Lockport, and I took them to two sites in Hamburg, one the Lake Erie Commerce Center, and one on Jeffrey. So it seemed promising. So before our meeting, I was putting together numbers and, kind of a financial analysis for them. And hopefully we can carry it forward. So,
Cool.
yeah, I was telling the mayor, it's, and we'll get into it in the meeting, but it's been busy. So like,
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, to the point where like that, that's a crap shoot. It could come or it could go, but it's still good progress either way. But there's going to be I'm working on 3 pre-permit applications for the land. So between Walden, Carwell, and Jameson Roofing, A.W. Farrell, there could be 3 projects going on out there next year. So avoid Bayview. Stay away. You'll have Lake Avenue. You don't have to worry.
Music to my ears.
Mm-hmm. It's just strange that, the last real work week of the year, these things just kind of had all emerged. So unfortunately, like even we're working with the state and the cultural resource things slow down, with progress, for at least the next week. So, but hopefully people are realistic with that. So we'll start. I haven't even talked on the 2. We don't even know timelines or things like that. So they're just, we've just started to work through design and whatnot. So it's good.
I think this is just my personal opinion, but from what I've seen, like in sales for construction equipment, everybody's hesitant to do anything, and it's like it's a suppression. It's a economic cap put on productivity right now. And I think as soon as this breaks, it's gonna floodgate.
Yeah.
Hope so. Do.
Hey, Jennifer.
Hi, Andy. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Doing okay. Long time no see.
Yeah. Do you got a Christmas sweater on like last time?
No, I just have red on today. That's and Sean has a red tie on. So.
Yeah.
I complimented him already.
Great.
We had a nice, we just very, everything typical, but just Mary and I and the chamber staff got lunch the other day.
Nice.
It's like those few things that are reality is nice, especially around the holidays, because it doesn't feel like it.
Mm-hmm.
Wentz.
Hi, Wentz.
I don't know if you can hear us.
Can you hear us, Wentz? I'm gonna shoot him a quick message.
You got it. All right.
Are you there, Wentz? We'll see the message.
Hey, Wentz.
Hey, how are you? You guys hear me?
There.
Yeah, hear you now.
Okay. Wentz. I haven't heard negative from anybody, so I'm hoping we got quorum here.
Nice. Mayor, I saw that the committee there for,
Hamburg moves.
what's that?
Hamburg moves.
Yes, that's back going.
It's going pretty good. They were on last night and we're going over some of their plans and stuff. So hopefully it'll continue. So it'll be good.
Good to hear.
Yep.
Do you know if anybody from Blaisdell ever got on there?
I'm not sure at this point. I have to check with Josh.
Am I
Josh,
here?
our recreation
Hi,
guy, is
Bob.
helping run that.
Hi, Bob.
Hello. Hello.
Hey, everyone.
Hey, Robert.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
How are you guys? Are you ready for tomorrow, Hutch?
Yeah,
Okay, good.
got some, I got a couple ideas we can talk about.
Good. I got some complaints from some of the committee members already. I gave them too much work to do. So. I guess you can delegate all your work to me, right? So you got that going for you.
Hello.
That's for the town comp plan. They got a little update on it. So I'll get in on the joke.
What do you think if we maybe do a vacancy study based on square footage of retail space and try to do the same thing for office and manufacturing warehouse?
We have it for, I mean, my take is that, and then we'll get going, is that a couple people coming in still. We did it. We did it we're on that retail committee, so that's up to date. The numbers are largely in line with the overall industry in Hamburg. The problem with Hamburg in particular with the retail is when you look at, we have Dick's Sporting Goods, which is over on the McKinley Mall site, the former Dick's Sporting Goods. And then we have the Kmart. So between those two sites, it's like 180,000 square feet. And it's just because those two parcels are so big, it like whacks the numbers. So if we, it brings us like, I think the number was around 14%. If you could get rid of one of those or get one of those occupied, it would actually put us below the national average for vacancy. But it's like those two are just these albatrosses.
Yeah,
that,
the Dick's has been vacant forever. I mean,
yeah, well, Dick's has since transacted. And we may have talked about that at a previous meeting, but Dick's has transacted. And it's kind of unsure what they're going to do with it. They were looking at potential like a hospitality use, but the hospitality market is not great lately. So, you can't get financing, so I don't know how the project would ensue, but they've gone silent since the pandemic. So, which is almost to be expected with how those sectors have been impacted. So we'll see. I have a lot of ideas too, obviously. So we could nudge some people in the right way or leverage some resources that we have. Like I said, if you could take one or two of those big parcels off, we'd be much better off percentage basis.
yeah, you can look at big box versus maybe even plazas and so forth. And then the mall, that's a world of its own.
Yes. Welcome, everyone.
Hello, Sean.
We have a full group together.
Ho, ho, ho.
So, and welcome, Ben, from the Sun. So I'm going to start with our roll call for our December 17th, 2020 Hamburg IDA board meeting. Cam Hall. He was here. Where'd he go?
He's on mute.
He's on mute.
I'm here, present.
Oh, there you are. Sorry, Cam. Bob Hutchison,
Here,
Jan McGregor-Plar,
Here.
Tom Moses,
Here.
Andy Palmer,
Here.
David Pokulski,
here,
Bob Reynolds,
Here.
Norma Russer-Kelly,
Here.
Lance Valentin.
Here.
Thank you. Full board. That's great. Welcome, everyone. Next item is our Pledge of Allegiance. We'll start with the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
America. And
to
to
the republic
republic
which
which it
stands
stands,
Nation.
one nation,
under God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with
liberty and
liberty
justice
and justice for all.
all.
Thank you.
Smooth.
Next, can I please have a motion to open the December 17th Hamburg IDA board meeting at 6:04 p.m., please?
I'll make
So
a motion.
moved.
Thank you,
Second.
Janet. Thank you, Norma. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Trying to stop my share here. Okay, meeting is open.
Hey, Sean, did I hear opposed?
Did I hear an opposed? That was probably me. Is anyone opposed?
You're opposed, Sean?
Well, I asked if anyone was opposed.
I thought I heard it. I was like, what?
Oh, don't try my patience with Zoom. Okay. Next item on the agenda are the minutes from November 24th, 2020 Board of Directors meeting. They were distributed in your board packet. Does anyone have any questions on those minutes?
Make a motion to approve those, Sean. It's Cam.
Thank you, Cam. Second,
I'll
please.
second.
Thank you, Norma. And someone else? Davis, was that you? All in favor?
Yeah. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Next item on the agenda is our financial report from November 2020.
Good evening, everybody. Our final live assets are $584,687.18. Obviously, our biggest expense was our overhead expense would be salaries and stuff like that. So it was a good month. We did lose a little money on the thing coming out of this month, but I think we're going to be all right for next year. So I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you. And that was Mayor Moses. Janet,
Yes.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, thank you. Next is our director update. I'm going to do a quick screen share. Doing things a little differently this month, just to kind of cap on year end. Everyone see this? Should be a
Yes.
blue PowerPoint screen. Thank you. Okay, so my director report is going to kind of wrap up this year, talk a little bit about next year and some things to look forward to. I've kind of broken things out by bad news and good news. Bad news is we're looking at 2020 operating deficit. So this is factoring in what's coming in December, you know, kind of like where we will end up for our audit. Probably around $35,000. However, due to the fact that we do a cash accounting, you could do accrual-based accounting, but it's just good to show that in the pipeline, we have approved projects that have not closed yet. So these projects will pay in full when they close. So we have booked $47,000 in receivables through approved projects in 2020. So if you do more of an accrual basis, our net position will improve slightly. So all in all, you know, from wondering where the agency will be back into March to finishing the year, pretty much on an even keel, really on an even keel and up a little bit. The financial picture looks good. And looking into next year is positive, as you'll see going forward. Some highlights for the financials. We've made improvements in office technology to operate through the pandemic. In addition to that, and before the pandemic even started, we had to upgrade our technology to maintain compliance with the state law. The board worked pretty hard through that committee, the board as a whole, for the 3-year agreement with me. So that secured the agency in a good position for the next couple of years. I hope everyone's in agreement with that. Then the last item on the business first list that Andy had circulated, our ranking is up to number 8. So we've actually exceeded in performance some of the counties in Western New York as a township, 60,000 people roughly. And it's up from the 16th position the year previous. So, these are some very positive indicators for the agency performance. And, it's a tribute to the board and the staff here that even through a very difficult year, we've maintained some successes. Next slide is job growth. Bad news is that the agency needs to focus activities to create more employment options in line with our mission. I think in line with our mission, how much job growth is too much is the question that we'll probably never get to. So there always can be more. The good news is that through approved projects, there will be 18 new jobs created in 2020, not including one that's a project that's being proposed tonight. Overall, our area industrial employment minimized loss. We were able to maintain essential workforce status in the industrial sector. So I think with that sector still being able to function in large part, although there are a lot of stresses with supply chain and getting labor, the industrial sector, manufacturing sector did fairly well, not only in Hamburg and in Western New York. In 2020, we offered a lot of community support through the COVID pandemic. We had a lot of discussions around this, I think starting way back in April and May. Oh, sorry, I got some spelling errors here. You didn't see that. And I just wanted to highlight those as we recap the year. Tonight we have on the agenda extension fees. And there were projects that were subject to extensions, delays, really beyond the project operator's control due to the pandemic. As we've approved these, we've foregone $79,500 in agency fees. Substantial number here. So what we've essentially done is really deployed these funds back into the community. So in a way, shape, and form, and a real number here, you've offered some support to IDA projects that have been struggling through this pandemic. And that number is a very substantial number, especially in light of our operating budget. And that is very significant. And it really speaks to the board's support for the industrial development community through this pandemic. The Local Business Support Initiative through the Southtowns Chamber of Commerce. That sponsorship was, again, some decent money, close to $2,000 that were to support in some part and in large part businesses that are not directly supported through the IDA, but they're important to our community character, our small business and our Main Street areas that we were able to boost in part with the chamber and in partnership with the chamber through that. We sent out direct mails, or we did not, the chamber did, as a result of the sponsorship to these local businesses and to the other sponsors in that holiday event to highlight the IDA partnership with the local businesses. So that was very nice as well. Earlier, I was talking with Bob on the town retail committee. So that committee had wrapped up through the leadership of the town supervisor and Councilwoman Farrell. It was essentially a report that I have a hard copy. It's probably 50 pages thick, and I've been unfortunately unable to distribute it. It highlights some of the strengths and weaknesses of the local retail economy. It brought about the 485B exemption program that the town has recently adopted, was supported by the IDA and adopted by the town board. And we look forward to tracking what we see will be, what we envision will be progress towards the retail end with that incentive. It won't be managed through the IDA. It's not an IDA program or project. It'll go through the town assessor, but certainly it's something that we can use in our cache of resources as we work to drive the local economy.
Sean, is that
Sir.
available like on a link? Can you send us a link or anything that
Let me follow up with the town and see if, I'm sure we can put that on a shared drive. I'll follow up with the supervisor's
either that
assistant.
or a PDF copy of or something? I mean, I don't expect a hard copy, but if there's a link that we could just kind of review it.
I will do that for the board.
Okay, thank you.
Next item was we've done a lot of business counseling. We've done a lot of referrals to the PPP program, other loan and grant programs. We've marketed the Hamburg Development Corporation Business Development Loan Fund. And the last item is increased participation within West Buffalo Niagara, strengthen our relationship with them. Looking forward into 2021. Okay, here we are. Some of the bad news and some of our challenges that are going to impact economic growth and impact the agency. The state deficit and how that is handled is certainly one of them that we need to pay close attention to and advocate on behalf of the IDA and work with our partners like the New York State Environmental or Economic Development Council to seek out state policy that will support IDAs and our practices. New taxes as they may impact, existing and expanding and new businesses into the state and into our area. Increased operating costs for businesses will certainly be one. If anything, any business has experienced increase in cost for personal protective equipment. Home rule degradation, and what that means is as certain initiatives are proposed through the state, namely along the lines of greening initiatives, and that would be solar power and wind power, offshore wind. Not only local government, but IDAs need to pay attention to how home rule could potentially be eroded in that regard. So those projects may run through a state approval process, not a local town, like a town planning approval process. So that's something to pay attention to as well. I try to stay in my lane and not focus so much on a planning perspective. Where it could more impact directly the IDA is that if they are telling us, for instance, as we had the power to negotiate the community benefit arrangement with Erie Wind, they may say, this is the fee you get for a pilot incentive, and this is how it's distributed at the taxing jurisdictions. So I think, as you are appointed to the boards, that, the taxing jurisdictions should have their due authority to those ends, and let local planning handle it as well. Something to pay attention to. As always, business competitiveness, how the state racks up against other states, other regions within the state. Some of this, if you've probably heard in light of the pandemic, it may positively impact our region. I think our region has kind of moved up in terms of appeal versus some areas. Dense populations have become more of a concern, dense offices, people needing larger residences because they're working out of their office. So some of those things may in fact be a positive for our area. And then certainly IDA policy. We always need to pay attention going into the year, going into the state budget season, and look forward and turn any sort of bad news in IDA policy into the good news. Stepping into the good news, back up to the top, our project pipeline. We were just kind of chatting as the meeting started. I'm working through 3 projects at the Lake Erie Commerce Center right now that are going in, they're looking at least to go into the pre-permit process. So when you get to that phase, you know, these developers and these investors are into their design phase. So, you know, as we know, they've acquired land, they're doing design and infrastructure improvements with that land. Some of the sites there, one of the applicants is looking to make an expansion already in the Lake Erie Commerce Center. So as we're going into January, we're going to be working with planning in 3 substantial projects. So that's very exciting. Emerging industries as a result of the pandemic, new technologies as a result of the pandemic. So, you know, business has shifted and focused and developed new means like Zoom here, new industries. So, you know, my role is to pay attention to them and look to see that we can capitalize on that. And I think on a more human basis, you know, a rollout of vaccines and an potential seemingly end the pandemic and a return of a more normal quality of life is something that people are looking forward to, and hopefully will loosen these reins that have been on industrial investment this past year. Last item, some core agenda items that we're going to focus on into 2020. The town comprehensive plan. Bob Hutchison and I are participating along with probably about 20 to 25 other people involved with the town to develop and update the comprehensive plan. The last reiteration of that was back in 2007. So not having an updated plan often puts the town out of competition for certain funding opportunities and then development opportunities, and it poses some risks in development where the town has not looked at zoning of certain parcels over a period of time, and it may come back to have negative effects on the town. So it really will get the closet cleaned, and also a plan for the future for the town from a development perspective. Certainly our focus with my subgroup, with Bob and myself, the chamber and some other folks, will focus on economic and industrial development. Our board retreat, which we're looking at, and we'll review the revised meeting schedule. We're looking at moving to February. We want to really have that in a more personal setting. So we've decided to table it in January and look to move it to February in hopes that we can have a Zoom component, but I would like to have it in person as well. We had a lot of great discussion out of our last one, and I look forward to that and carrying some of the foundations that we developed in that last meeting. Pitch Hamburg is starting to make the transition from company formation. Pitch Hamburg is the innovation competition and the startup culture that we're looking to breed in Hamburg, which will have a direct role in economic development and hopefully further down the line positively impact the IDA. That is largely completed its formation, its mission, its vision, its goals, our legal formation, and now we are putting documents together that we can start to fundraise. So we're starting to bring about the story of the organization and why it's important and why people should financially support it. It's going to be an uphill battle. As I've talked to a lot of fundraising professionals, fundraising has shifted focus to more basic needs, clothing, food, shelter, as the economy has really taken a downturn. But hopefully as we come out of this, there'll be plenty of opportunities, and we're certainly going to work hard to fund Pitch Hamburg. So that'll be something to look forward to, the next phase of that program's development. Staff training and certification, as was presented, excuse me, in the 2021 budget. I've applied for this certification and registered for my first class starting in January. In January, we also have the New York State Economic Development Council annual meeting, and that is going to be held remote versus in Albany, which it typically is held every year. Further development at the Lake Erie Commerce Center, which we talked about. And, as always, and hopefully some of these will emerge that we've been trying to work on. I've been trying to work on behind the scenes, new projects for the Land Corp. So that's kind of wrap up of 2020 and just, going in out of the gate in 2021, what we're looking forward to, a nice full agenda. Does anyone have any questions or comments?
It looks like a full agenda for you.
No doubt. And hopefully some projects will emerge too to pay the bills. That's important. So, all of this is kind of like the ingredients to bringing about those projects. So there's a good rationale and a sound rationale to that. Okay. That completes my report. The next item on the agenda, excuse me for a minute, is the resolution for Billy Lee. So Billy Lee is the first one on our agenda that has experienced COVID delays. So their project has been delayed due to supply chain, due to construction labor, through the pandemic. So essentially what all of these projects are looking for is a sales tax extension. This is not extending their property tax payments or deferring them. This is not increasing their sales tax deduction. They're simply, for instance, in this one, it speaks to it. They're essentially looking for, they haven't been able to spend the money on the construction materials and supplies to realize the sales tax and execute the deduction. So in terms of the agreement, the only thing that would be changing is extending the period of time that allows them to complete their investment in the town of Hamburg.
I so move.
Second.
Sure. What I'll do, Andy, just before we get into that, I'll go through the resolution real quick. For the first one, the other ones will be very similar, so I'll probably even cover those even more briefly. That's okay. Resolution of the Town of Hamburg Industrial Development Agency extending the inducement period and sales tax period for Billy Lee LLC project until June 17, 2001. Whereas the Town of Hamburg Industrial Development Agency by resolution adopted on 27 December 2019 induced Billy Lee LLC. This was for a 10,000 square foot addition. Whereas the COVID-19 pandemic and mandated construction shutdown and supply chain delays and as a result of border and supply demands, the lessee has been unable to complete the project within the time frame originally anticipated and has requested the time frame extension to June 18, 2021. Whereas the Town of Hamburg IDA approved a temporary policy to waive extension fees for project extensions for COVID-19 pandemic delays on May 26, 2020 to lessen the economic burden of induced projects for the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the agency as follows. The agency does hereby extend the inducement period and the sales tax period for the lessee from December 17, 2020 to June 17, 2021 and waives the extension fee. So moved, Andy, still?
Yes.
Thank you. And the second on that?
Second.
Thank you, Bob. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. So with these projects we did with the Oaks, we did a 3 months extension. And as these projects, as I talked with the operators, they needed 6 months. With the Oaks, we delayed it 3 months. And then we were looking for another 3 month extension. So that would make it a total of 6 months on this one. So with the Oaks, it's a resolution of the Town of Hamburg Industrial Development Agency extending the inducement period and sales tax period for Oaks at South Park LLC until March 26, 2021. The agency, now be it therefore resolved by the agency as follows. The agency does hereby extend the inducement period and the sales tax period for the lessee from June 26, 2020 to March 26, 2021, and waives the extension fee. This resolution shall take effect immediately. Any
I'll make a
questions?
motion.
Norma, and who else was that? I'm sorry.
That's Janet. Thank you.
Janet.
Second.
Thank you on the second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Carried. Thank you. The next one is 250 Lake Avenue LLC. Extension resolution. Resolution of the Town of Hamburg Industrial Development Agency extending the inducement period and sales tax period for the 2019 Bethlem Associates LLC project until April 18, 2021. The agency does hereby extend the inducement period and the sales tax period from October 18, 2020 to April 18, 2021, and waives the extension fee. This resolution shall take effect immediately.
I make that motion.
Thank you, Wentz.
Second.
Thank you, Mayor. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is a motion to approve the revised 2021 calendar.
Can I ask a question on that?
Yes, sir.
We're meeting at 5 p.m. and I know you guys, everybody tries to get, is 4:30 better for a little bit okay for everybody? And that way you guys can get home to dinner too, you and Mary? Since we're going to 5 p.m. meeting, would 4:30 work for everybody? Just curious.
Be fine
I'm
with
okay.
me.
You know, the half an hour earlier?
And it likely will be by Zoom.
Yeah.
Okay, so we will change that to 4:30.
Is the
Are we
board
looking
doing
at the calendar for 2021? Is that what we're talking about?
Yes.
So we only have 2 evening meetings. The rest are at 7:30 a.m. Am I reading that correctly?
5:30.
Yes.
Yes.
I'll say it to you.
And you were gonna change the January one to the evening meeting also.
We would have, with the change in January, we'd have January at 4:30, the February meeting at 5 p.m. and the June meeting at 5 p.m.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to make any of the morning meetings. So I thought we were doing every other.
Does anyone else have any comments?
You know, maybe we just kind of keep it fluid. Obviously, this would be what we're aiming for, but if we have to change what we're aiming at, so be it. Not that we want to do that, but I don't think it's a huge deal, like it's set in stone, right, Sean?
72 hours notice, right, Jennifer?
Correct.
So that's all we would need,
Or greater notice if you have the ability to do
or
so.
greater.
I know that I have meetings on Tuesday morning at 8 o'clock every Tuesday morning at work that I just can't miss. That's like a plant leadership meeting that I have to be at. So just, that's what I have to do. So that's
Can you just pop in on Zoom for 15 minutes once?
I don't know, Bob, I got elected to be president of my local.
I know, but I'm just
and
saying for 15 minutes, can you pop in and just get in the morning?
The process, I can't, Bob. The process to
Okay.
get in, if I were at the Union Hall, I could.
Yeah,
The process to get in the plant with the COVID and
yeah.
to get where the meeting is, it's just not feasible for me. So, and I could, what would I be here for 15 minutes of the meeting, so
Okay.
I'm just saying what I could be at, so letting that be known.
Yeah. I'm totally flexible, probably the most of any of you. So I don't care whether you do, if you can do it every other evening, every other meeting for an evening is fine with me. Whatever works, for
Are
you
we,
guys.
I mean, does it have to be on Tuesday?
No,
Because every other day I could probably do the AM
Oh.
meeting,
don't
except for Friday.
have to be on Tuesday for me. I don't know if anybody else has. It doesn't matter to me on Tuesdays.
Doesn't matter to me. I'm kind of open. I make my own schedule, so.
Yeah.
If we did like Wednesday mornings, It seems like it's easier for everyone else to be there in the morning, and I'm like the only one that's kind of screwing everyone else up, so I feel bad. But if we did it on Wednesday mornings, I could make most of them through Zoom.
We just want to put a note here. Do we want to get us through February? We'll carry with those because it's an evening, and then we'll carry as an open item on the agenda just for people to have a takeaway look at Wednesdays going through 2021, and then we'll revisit this. So we'll approve it with that note.
Anybody else have a problem with Wednesdays first?
Wednesday's fine with me.
Yeah. Wednesday would be actually better for me.
As long as we're Wednesdays. No, depending, I can flex the week because we have there's a village economic development meeting. So if in general Wednesdays work, I'll just avoid that week of the month when those meetings are, which I think is the third Wednesday. So maybe we look to like the second Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
Good with me.
Okay. Yeah, I'll send out some communication before our January meeting. And one thing I could have
Could I maybe make a recommendation, Sean? How about we just adopt the schedule for the first 2 meetings of the year and then figure it out?
That sounds good. I agree.
So can we make a motion to accept the Tuesday, January 26th meeting at 4:30 p.m. and the Tuesday, February 23rd meeting at 4:30 p.m.
So 4:30.
Both of them?
Well, somebody said that we changed January to evening. I believe Mary made that statement.
So we can both go to 4:30 for both of those.
Okay.
I think it'd be a good idea to maintain them the same. Yes, the same time, whatever it be.
Right.
Okay,
And,
so
and then we've got time to discuss the rest of the year when we know what
We'll
the
work
heck
it
is
out.
going on in the world.
Sounds good. So
What? The world ain't gonna shut down.
Already has, my friend.
Okay. Andy, that's a second from you. Motion by Janet, second by Andy through February. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And, I'm remiss because I had a lot in that director report. What I did not mention, the Hamburg Development Corporation is doing essentially an open meeting via Zoom. It's our annual meeting where we appoint new board members, and some of the board members time out to that business development loan fund. We've partnered with a local freelancer who does social media development and marketing. And this person, we're advertising in the Hamburg Sun. We're sending it out through the social media channels, the chamber. We're going to open this up to the business community. And this woman's going to speak for an hour and talk about how these companies really should have by now, but how they should shift and utilize social media as a platform to boost their business. So it will largely have more of a focus on the businesses that loan fund has typically boosted. So more Main Street type businesses again. But I think it was a great way. We typically did like a breakfast thing at Ilio's, and it was great. And we'd have a guest speaker. But I think we really had shifted that in a nice fashion, and hopefully another way that we can provide some support out in the community. So we're paying for this presenter. We're advertising it to get some utilization of her talents, and it should be a nice meeting. And that would be on the 26th at 8 o'clock. And that's why that meeting had to be an evening meeting, because that was double booked. Okay, on to new business. Excuse me for 1 minute. I just got to grab this folder. I'm going to talk a little bit about this project questionnaire and project applicant that was distributed in your packet. And then we can have some discussion and review the resolution. This project is for Race Storage Sheds LLC. As I review the benefits in total are less than $100,000. So per state law, there is no requirement for a public hearing on this project. More recent ones that we have done were larger and exceeded that threshold, so we've had public hearings. There is no requirement for a public hearing for this potential project. Ray Storage Sheds LLC is looking to acquire and renovate 4307 South Park Avenue in Blaisdell. This is the former Big Tree Fire Hall that was housed and induced by the IDA for Gateway Printing. And as you know, unfortunately, Gateway had lost some business that was supporting that entity. The site was really, for the last year, sitting unproductive. And fortunately, the site has transacted and has a bright new future on potential here with Ray Storage Sheds. The incentives, as proposed by the agency, would be a 7-year pilot incentive. In addition to that, there would be some mortgage recording tax savings and sales tax. The project highlights property tax savings, roughly $78,000, $77,737 to be exact. Mortgage recording tax savings in the amount of $4,000. Sales tax savings in the amount of $1,750. The benefits to the community for this project would be a property tax increase due to the transaction and increase in assessed value, even with the pilot incentive remaining. The net to the town and the taxing jurisdictions would be $1,019. There would also be income tax benefits through the employment related at this site of $115,000 and $115,747, and then sales tax produced out of the site at $46,804. The company currently employs, I believe it was 5 full-time equivalents. And the important part is, if induced, they will add 2 new jobs, full-time jobs. Salary range from $35,000 to $45,000. What they're looking to do at this site, they have town approval through the planning department. They have approval to acquire the site, perform some renovations. At the site, they would, on the interior only per planning, they would prefabricate your typical storage shed buildings as presented in the project profile, typical of that, and then have their office component at this facility. They prefab these buildings, and then they take them out to residences and businesses throughout Western New York, and then they assemble them on site. They have not applied to the IDA before. They are an existing Hamburg business, so they have no history with the IDA. They are an existing business that leases a space in Hamburg, and they're looking to expand and acquire and approve this building. One other comment is, I think for what they do, as they state their salary and their payroll at the project site, I think it's a very fair and good wage for the employees, and it seems like a sound and well operating business. Does anyone have any questions or comments?
So is that waging, that's just their pay? Do they get any benefits with that?
Let me see here. There was in the application. No, I don't think it outlined any benefits, Wens. No.
Okay.
So that does not include any type of benefits or fringe payments.
I mean, I did the math real quick. It looks like between $17 and $21.50 for them jobs. It's decent enough.
Yeah, so I think, from my experience in the best I could attribute to would be like a maintenance technician position. And, in getting them in at around the $40,000 range was about the market. So I think it's okay. I think there is also opportunity for overtime for these people. This company, just a they're bankable. They have a mortgage. They're supported through a bank in these times, which is important. And they're booked. According to them, they have no capacity for new business into 2021. And I know there's been some, like, I jokingly attribute them as like COVID crazy businesses. And it seems like the storage sheds are one. So a lot of home improvement type businesses, decks, pools. Those businesses have just shot up through the pandemic. For the people that are still able to earn a wage and are typically taking vacations and have outlets for their money, they have no outlets. So they're reinvesting this money into their homes. So I think that's the rationale why this company has experienced a spike in sales.
Hey, Sean, it's Andy.
Yes.
The property tax, it's a net increase of $1,000 more than that the town of Hamburg was getting before, correct?
Correct.
Sean, if I might jump in, up until Gateway purchased that property had never been on the tax roll. A volunteer fire company does not pay taxes to Hamburg. They're actually a taxing entity. So any gain is a net gain.
You are correct. And then, it's a highly traveled corridor. And I hate going down that corridor and seeing lack of activity. So it'll be nice to ideally see a thriving parking lot and get that site back into good productive use here. Especially a local small business.
Can I make a motion, Sean, or no?
Yeah, I'll go through the resolution and then certainly if you're agreeable to the terms, please do. This is a resolution of the Town of Hamburg Industrial Development Agency, the agency authorizing Race Storage Sheds LLC, the lessee, to acquire and renovate a parcel located at 4307 South Park Avenue in the Town of Hamburg with renovation of an approximately 16,000 square foot building as agent for the agency for lease to the agency, subsequent lease back to the lessee, who will be the sole occupant of this facility, all for design, manufacture, and installation of storage sheds and other outbuildings, and to take other preliminary action. The assistance contemplated by the agency, as I had mentioned, will be mortgage tax abatement, sales tax exemption on any materials and or equipment purchased for incorporation into the project, and real property tax abatement in accordance with our existing agency uniform tax policy and guidelines as amended. With respect to lease with a mortgage or lease only transaction for renovation of these approximately 16,000 square feet building located at 4307 South Park Avenue. All for the provision of a design, manufacture, and installation of storage sheds and other outbuildings. The lessee has submitted an eligibility questionnaire and other materials and information to the agency. There is no public hearing required, whereas the lessee desires the agency assistance to renovate an existing building on a 1.9 plus or minus acre parcel of land to allow for the continued growth of the lessee. The lessee needs a larger facility, which is necessary to support the growth and expansion of its operations. At the time of the application, the lessee has four full-time equivalent employees and one part-time employee. If assistance is granted, the lessee will retain its existing employees and anticipates hiring another full-time employees at the project location in the Town of Hamburg within 2 years following the completion of the project. The project will result in substantial capital improvement. There will be no adverse disruption of existing employment at facilities of a similar nature in the Town of Hamburg. If the agency assistance is disapproved, the lessee would have to scale back the project, negatively impacting future growth in New York, and that therefore agency assistance is necessary to encourage the lessee to proceed with the project in the Town of Hamburg. Now therefore, the Town of Hamburg Industrial Development Agency resolves as follows. The lessee is authorized to initiate the renovation of approximately 16,000 square feet located at 4307 South Park, Hamburg. The lessee is agent for the agency for lease to the agency and subsequent lease back to the lessee, who will be the sole occupant. The lessee is authorized to make purchases of goods and services relating to the project that would otherwise be subject to New York State sales and use tax in the amount of up to $20,000. This may result in New York State and local sales and use tax exemption benefits in the amount not to exceed $1,750. Any expenses incurred by the agency with respect to the project and the financing thereof shall be paid by the lessee. The resolution is subject to the standard 7-year payment in lieu of taxes for municipal services policy of the agency on the building, and thereafter make a full payment in lieu of taxes. The execution and delivery of a closing agreement, lease to the agency, and leaseback agreement between the agency and the lessee, each being substantially in the form approved by the agency for prior transactions, or in a form approved by the chairman, vice chairman, executive director, or assistant secretary is hereby authorized. The appropriate officers of the agency are hereby authorized to execute, seal, and acknowledge and deliver such agreement. The provisions of the Town of Hamburg Industrial Development Agency policy for recapture and/or termination or modification of financial assistance, first adopted by the agency on June 15th, 2016, shall be applicable to this project. This resolution shall take effect immediately.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Reynolds.
Second. Oh, go ahead, Bob.
Go ahead, Andy, you can have it.
No, you got it. It's all you.
You okay? Give it to,
We're gonna have a duel.
Hutch.
Hey, Sean, can we
All
have a
in
roll
favor?
call vote on this, please?
Yes, roll call vote. I'm going by my Zoom screen. Mayor Moses,
Yes.
Chairman Palmer,
Yes.
M. Hall,
Yes.
Bob Reynolds,
Yes.
Bob Hutchison,
Yes,
Wentz Valentin,
Yes.
Norma Russer Kelly,
Yes.
Shannon McGregor Plar,
Yes.
Davis Pekulski.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone. I feel it's a nice, local, very grassroots company that seems to treat their employees fairly well, and looking forward to their growth and productivity at that site. Continuing on, Neal and Strong attorneys and counselors. This is a motion to appoint Neal and Strong attorneys and counselors as special counsel and transaction counsel to the Hamburg Industrial Development Agency for the year 2021.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm
was
jumping
that,
in
Wentz?
for you guys. You guys are
Davis.
ready.
Thank you, Davis.
Thank you.
All in
Thank you,
favor?
Jennifer.
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. And I thank you as well. Jennifer makes our life productive and easier and legal.
Happy to do so. Thank you.
It's been tough getting some of these projects to close, so they've taken a lot more time. And the fees are the fees. Next item on the agenda is Hamburg IDA staff compensation.
I got you there, Sean.
Okay, I'm
It'd
happy
be
to
pretty
talk.
awkward if you did this resolution. So the executive committee, myself, we've come together with Sean, and obviously Mary has done a great job. We have, we think, and we're presenting to the board here that we, I guess it'll be a bonus of $500 for Mary. And Mary, I know you're listening, so thank you for your hard work. And I want to say that Mary stayed working throughout the whole pandemic, and I don't think the agency would be where it is without her being there. No offense, Sean. And Sean, as far as the executive committee goes, we we negotiated with Sean throughout the height of the pandemic. It was, and Sean is a team player. I appreciate his work. And as you see, with 3 projects looking like it might happen, and the land sale that happened, and his work with the HDC, also with Pitch Hamburg, the town comprehensive plan. I could go on all night. You heard it already. The executive committee and myself want to put forward to the board that we do a $2,500 bonus for his hard work in a year where a lot of people not lose hope, but a lot of people, it was very nice to have a steady hand on the till with Sean. He kept at it no matter what, and I appreciate that about him. And I think it is a fair, and within the agreement we have with him as a board to compensate him and also to provide him a bonus. He was very kind throughout this time, and also not, well, let's just say he didn't come asking for it. The board, the executive committee, we talked and we said, we can do this. We think it's the right thing to do. And I would ask for your support on these 2 bonuses for Sean and Mary, because together they represent a cohesive team, right? And I think it's directly impacting this agency for the better. Plus you guys, you're a good board, but they do it day in and day out. And so I want to put a resolution forward to, I guess it'd be a bonus for Sean for $2,500 for 2020, and a bonus for Mary for $500.
Support that. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Just
Carried.
Sean.
Yes, sir.
Just you're opposed, Sean? You don't want it?
No, is anyone opposed? Certainly not opposed. No, and behind the scenes, we've started, executive committee meetings. So I guess the success of the agency has put on additional pressure to the board. I've been looking into some history and financial performance through the inception, and there were times where, for whatever reason, the meetings weren't monthly. So you guys are putting more time into it, and we all know what you get paid. So it's important that your influence and your guidance moves this agency forward as well. So we certainly appreciate that. It is truly a team effort, and we're lucky to have this board together and to support this agency. So thank you. Executive session. Any need? Okay. Look back here. This is a long set of meeting notes. Motion to adjourn December 17th, 2020, Hamburg IDA Board of Directors meeting at 6:56 p.m.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Norma. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Need a
Opposed?
second to that motion.
I'll
Oh,
take it.
thank
I'll
you.
second.
Thank you, Janet. Opposed? Closed. Next meeting, Tuesday, January 26th, 2021 at 4:30 p.m. The Renaissance year. Next.